Hello everybody, welcome to JC Let's Play. My name is Jonathan Cook, and this is just a quick video for you guys to kind of update you on what's going on with the channel and what direction I'm hoping to go with it here shortly. And doing this a little different than like a vlog update, I'm going to show off the Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn official benchmark. This is the character creation benchmark that was just released on August 1st. I'll post a link to it down below. But yeah, I've mentioned a couple times that I've been in the Final Fantasy XIV beta, and that I will be playing it once the game goes live, and Phase 4 should be kicking off here in the next couple weeks, as well as early access, which I have through my pre-order, and launch is the 27th, so just at the end of the month. But yeah, I just kind of want to let you know kind of what's been going on, what's coming, and do it in a little bit different format than just me talking to a camera. So, at the meantime, I'll show you a little bit of the character creation and how it works, and then we'll run the benchmark and go over everything. So, without further ado, let's just start the character creation. And as it loads here, it should load fairly quickly. And there we go. We have the iconic music in the background. As you see, I've made a couple characters already. It starts off with a pre-made Makote male from the benchmark. This is the character that was in the benchmark when it was released the first time. But since then, I've made a Seeker of the Sun male. Just kind of playing around. I've also made, that's a Makote, Seeker of the Sun. If you're not familiar, we'll go over it a little bit later, but each race has two sub-races in it. So this is a Highlander female that I created. Again, just kind of playing around with the different classes, or the different races. I have a Dunes Folk Lalafell. I really wish I could play small races because I just love the Lalafell model and the emotes they have, but sadly something about them, I don't know, I get something akin to motion sickness. So, and then we have a Keeper of the Moon Makote female, and if you're not familiar on the different races, you're welcome to do research, and I'll post a couple links to some people down below that you can get that information from, as well as to the Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn official website, which has all the information as well. But as I said, there are 5 races in the game. You start off with the Hure, which are your basic human races. You have the Elezen, which are in essence your elves of the game. The Lalafell, which are the small race, I guess you could call them like the gnomes or the halflings. You have Makote, which are the cat people, I guess is what you could call them. There are others that say they're closer to wolves, but they're the more bestial race. And then you have the Rugadin, which are just the hulking, large race. And I have to say, the character models on each of them are fantastic. If you have ever played Final Fantasy XI, you'll notice that they're very similar to the races there, the Humes, the Elvon, the Tarutaru, the Mithra, and the Galka. But yeah, so very similar, but they definitely have their quirks, and of course there's a female option for each race. This wasn't true in Final Fantasy XIV. In Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, when it was originally released, the Makote were a female-only race, and the Rugadin were a male only. I could be wrong on that, though. I know that in 11 that was the case. But yeah, so I think I'm just gonna start. Let's, for the sake of it, we will make a Rugadin male, because I haven't made one in a long time, and I kind of like, you know what? Yeah, we'll go with that. As I said, each race has its 2 sub races. So the Rugadins have the Sea Wolves and the Hell's Guard. And you can see over on the left-hand side here what exactly that gives us a brief history, as well as their starting attributes. Each race and each sub-race has different starting attributes. They're all very similar, but I think there's only at most like a 3-point difference. But for those of you that are min-maxers that will be playing the game, it's good to have. But I'm going to create a Sea Wolf Rugadin. So it starts off here in the Character Creator. You see on the left-hand side you have a number of options that move what is visible on the left-hand or on the right-hand side. But I'm just going to go through them in order. So you start off with height, and you can make them short. And new in the benchmark, it shows you their approximate height in inches. I'm assuming that depending on where you are regionally, it would change between imperial and metric. But and so it gives you an idea. There's really no sense of scale. I'm going to actually go to, this background, so it gives you at least a little bit sense of scale with that large rock in the background. But I'm just going to kind of make him a middling height, so we'll move on. You have their muscle tone, and I apologize for this, but you have the option to drop them down just to their small clothes, their underwear, so you can get a better look at things like their skin tone and their muscle tone. Not every race has this option. For example, the Makote do not have chiseled. The Lalafell do not have chiseled. But yeah, this is just their muscle definition, and it's not a huge difference between them, but it is noticeable. And I'm just going to kind of leave him right about there. We'll move on to skin color, and then I'll put his clothes on, I promise. And each race has their own skin color palette that is unique to them. And you can see there's varying degrees of each color, and I kind of like that color, so we're going to go with that. We'll put his clothes back on. Then we move on to hair selection, and there are a number of hairstyles for each race, as you would assume, and some of them aren't as it's not all unique. You can see this, it's just a matter of the ornament. The hair ornament changes color. With here, it's just a matter of that forehead ornament, and the same thing here. But yeah, I really like that hairstyle, so that's what we're gonna go with here. You can choose their hair color, and again, they have a very large selection of hair colors. These I don't believe are as unique. They're pretty standard between the races. My major complaint I've had is that their red hairs, it kind of goes from you get kind of a what I would call a natural kind of dark red, but they really don't have anything. Yeah, it starts to go very pink very quickly. I kind of wish they had more red hair color tones, but yeah, we're gonna go with that. Kind of a brown auburn maybe. But then you can choose highlights, and each hairstyle has its own varied highlights. Here you can see it's along the the ridge there, a streak above the eye at the end of the braids here, and then just coming out of the I guess tail or whatever you want to call it in the back. But yeah, you can change those. You can have it. I typically try to go with something a little more natural that you might actually see, and so there you see I've kind of got an orange that starts off, yeah, so you have highlights, and those are optional. You don't have to have highlights. You move into the face, excuse me, and we're just going to zoom in really close here, because there are 3 to 4 face options for each race, and you can see they're rather varied. I think I'm actually going to no, we're going to go with this one. Just kind of looks like a kind of a meaner. So we're going to confirm that. And typically there are 3 or 4 jaw types, and this is going to be, especially since the facial hair is on, you're going to see his are more in the cheeks, but some of them are more drastic than others. There's nothing that is too drastic, however. You then choose eye shape, which you can see as I mouse through just makes minor adjustments to their eyes, the shape of their eyes, go figure. And then you can choose their iris size, whether it's large or small, and you can see, wow, his go extremely small. Sometimes it's not a very large difference, but his is massive. And then you choose eye color, as you would expect. And again, you have a plethora of colors to choose from. I think I'm going to kind of go with the yellow goldish color there. And you also choose odd eyes, which you can see here. Now the left eye, his right eye, the left eye for us, is on the other side, and you can choose to make that any color you would like. I don't typically use those. The Lalafell characters I create, I use them more often than not. A couple Makote characters I've created, but for the most part, I like symmetry, I like cohesion, so we keep that the same. You then have eyebrows, which you can see just makes minor adjustments to the eyebrows. And then you move on to the nose, which typically for this I go to kind of a 3/4 downward profile, and you can see just the changes in the nose. I kind of like the shorter one for him. And then you have your mouth types, which you can see it's typically a pattern I've noticed so far is kind of a wide thin lip, a wide larger lip, a extremely thin lip, and then a slightly narrower, just kind of normal definition, which I guess is what you would call number 1 there as well. Then you can choose lip color, which typically on males I don't. However, I have on occasion, just because it adds a little more definition between the lips and the rest of their skin tone. But as you can see, it defaults to none, or at least it did here. And then you could choose light, which there isn't so bad. On some of the characters, it adds a really high gloss, which you can kind of see. I wonder if I turn him more into light. You can see, you know, along the bottom lip there, he's kind of got a gloss line, which isn't so much there. But yeah, it adds a bit of a definition. And then you can go dark, which is quite a major difference. But yeah, if you were to just, you know, say I want it on light, and then just choose something along, not that it looks bad with that kind of reddish color to it, but add something kind of in the same color range, and it just adds that touch of definition to it. That might actually be a bit dark. You know what? I am going to go back up to here. Oh, it's on dark. I kind of like that. So, moving on. Yes, my Ruganin male is wearing lip coloring. Then you have facial features, which there's usually about 5 to each race, and they're actually unique to the face that you choose. So, you know, for example, this one and the one that it started with had facial hair options. Not all of them would have facial hair options, but these include things like facial markings, scars. Wow, that's a pretty wicked scar. That's another scar, but that's what it would be fully loaded. And you can just kind of choose to mix and match these. I kind of liked that mark under with that scar. And then you can see what he looks like without the beard, which is actually very strange. So he's going to keep the facial hair. As someone who typically has facial hair, I prefer characters with them as well. Tattoos. Some characters, there's usually 2 options. You know, since I've got that, I'm actually going to keep that marked. Then you can choose your tattoo color. And, yeah, it just kind of looks interesting. Unique. Kind of looks like he got punched in the face as well. But, again, you have a large color palette with your tattoo colors as well. Face paint is it has a lot more options than the tattoo. You kind of have the makeup option here with like eyeshadow. You can reverse it, which I'm going to do since I've already got a lot of stuff on that side. Blush, kind of the anime schoolgirl like cheek rosy blush. Side markings, you've got little tattoo or little cheek marks you can put on, all the way down to like fairly noticeable markings, and you know, to nearly the entire face. And so, but with him, I do like, again, kind of sticking with the pattern around the eyes. I like that. And then, of course, you can choose the face paint color. And you can choose that dark or light, so how defined it is. And then you move into the voice. And they were very nice when letting you choose the voice to give you options here. You've got their kind of angry, they show the emotes as well. Their cheer. I learned that is actually not their laugh, it is their chuckle. In Phase 3, I created a character who I chose the voice based on the laugh, just because it gives you the best kind of idea of where the voice is at. And so when I got in the game, I used the laugh emote, and the laugh was completely different. It ends up that was the chuckle. And so, and then you have their yes and their no, or their agree and disagree. But then you can just kind of mouse through. I'm going to go back to the left, and you can, see the difference between each voice. And there are 12 voice types. I found that I tend to choose one in the lower, in the 7, 8, 9 area. And you see there's not a ton of difference between those two. Except one laughs a bit longer. But I kind of like that maniacal laugh there. And then I typically go through the rest of the emotes to make sure it's something I could actually live with. And so then we confirm, and a few other options in the character creator. You can, as I said, in the live game, once you've selected a class, sadly in the character creator they only give you access to the paladin class, or in the benchmark. You can choose job, and so say if you choose archer, it will show you not what the archer looks like, but what your character would look like in the bard artifact armor. And but we can't show that here, so you have the option between the race and the small clothes. And then you have the various backgrounds that you can set it on. This is just kind of the generic background that starts you with. This is where in the game, Hydaelyn has talked to you without spoiling too much. You can go to the Lanosian coast. This is the area where Limsa Limensa is. However, this seems to be... I'm trying to identify that city, but I'm not sure. This might be eastern Lanosia, because there's the mines. So, kind of going off memory there, but I can't remember the name of the town. You have the Black Shroud, and this is pretty generic, so I'm not sure where... Oh, no, this is Central Shroud. Kind of in the higher level area of Central Shroud. I recognize the root system. You end up... Yeah. Anyway, but this is the area in which Gridania, the capital of Gridania, is in. You then have Thanalan, which is probably by far one of my favorite areas. I'm a huge fan of kind of desert, savanna type areas, and Thanalan is just gorgeous. One of the most common things I heard from 1.0 players in the 2.0 beta is that Thanalan has been completely overhauled. Before, it was kind of just this blank, generic area, but in 2.0, they're like, there's trees, there's buildings, there's things, and you see Ul'dah in the background, the shining jewel of Thanalan. But this is... I'm trying to remember my directions. This is Western Thanalan. But yeah, and now obviously you can rotate the character model to get the different lighting, and then you have this is the Gridanian residence, and just kind of a room in Gridania, so you can get what the interior look would look like. And then you can choose to have unique pose, in which it kind of moves through some of the race emotes. I shouldn't say race. A lot of them are very, very much the same. For example, it had the look emote. That was the stretch emote, which on the Makote male is probably my favorite emote, if not air quotes. But they don't show air quotes in this. That's the pose emote. But so that's the character creator in a nutshell. I'm not gonna save. No, I will. Just to show it. You can see I've saved a number of characters, and then it gives you the options to add comments. I'm just going to save it, and okay. Excuse me. Now, if you've used the character creator in the beta phases, you can choose to load appearance data, and you can see I've got benchmarks here, but I've also got the character data that I saved in the beta version. So you could start with that, and oh, that's not what I want to do. Go back, please. And but once you're in here, as you can see, we've got the character we just created selected, and you can choose what gear it's wearing. again, this is only based on the Paladin class, but you can see you have the level 20 gear. This is actually the Foe Striker set. It's a unique dungeon set. Excuse me, apparently I need a nap today. I actually had almost this entire set in Beta Phase 3. The only thing I did not have was the boots. But it's just a fantastic looking set. There's also a Disciple of Magic unique set, which is just very unique looking and fantastic. You can go to level 30 gear, which I'm not exactly familiar which gear set this is, but I do know I like it. The only complaints I've had about it so far is I kind of wish there was more of a belt and it was actually metal boots. But no, I like it. It's very, I mean, it's kind of like an iconic Paladin-esque looking set. But so you have that. And then you can go to level 40 gear, which you see is just kind of your very general armor. And sadly, you can only see this in the Hydaelyn zone. You can't see this in other zones, so it's very reflective. And then, of course, you have the artifact set, which is the iconic Paladin set in Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. It's very similar to the Paladin AF that was in Final Fantasy XI, and is very heavily inspired from Paladins throughout the series. But as you can see, it also is very shiny. But yeah, once you've completed your character, you click Confirm or Return. Either one leaves. And then you're back to your desktop with the character creator. And then it's just a matter of you set up your settings, which, as you can see here, I have set to maximum. My display settings, I'm running at borderless windowed, which my current resolution is 1920 by 1080. You can change your sound settings, which I'm not really going to. And once you have all your settings, you could go through and set these up yourself. I just know that I'll be running the game on maximum or high desktop, depending. Probably maximum, just because my computer can handle it. And once you've set your settings, you click OK, and then it's just a matter of hitting start, and the benchmark will load up. And while this is running, I'm just going to kind of update you on a few things I'm thinking for the channel. The first thing I want to do is, again, apologize for how long it's been since I posted. I know it's been about a month, and I do apologize for that. Things have been crazy at work. I've mentioned before that I work at a school. I work for a college. I am their IT director, and so during the summer, especially after July, or in July and August, we have a lot of projects that you have to do, and so it's just been very, very busy for me. I mentioned to a few people I've been working quite a few 12-hour days, and those aren't ending anytime soon, so my weekend time is very precious right now. But I also teach. I teach a computing class, and so I've been getting that ready, and so I've just been completely loaded right now. Yeah, so I do apologize for how long it's been. Things will be slowing down here shortly, and we will go on to getting videos up more regularly. Serving Justice videos will be coming. I've posted the first part of the subscriber battle. I still have to edit the second and probably third part. I think there were about 6 battles that I wanted to put in there. So we'll be getting those up. I do love that scene with all the different Grand Company chocobos, and they're all running in, but that's besides the point. But yeah, so those will be coming. We will also, as you can see, I'm recording this from my desktop. Right now I am using XSplit in order to do so. So that also means I will be broadcasting a few things. Probably depending on what the NDA is in Phase 4, we don't have information on that yet. I would love to be able to record and post and stream footage from Final Fantasy XIV, but I can't make any promises to that. I just remembered, since I'm doing video and audio recording, my benchmark scores probably going to come in a little under where I was before. But anyway, so yeah, that is coming. So expect to see more of that in the future. For those of you that are wanting more information on Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, you can find it all over the place, but their main website, which I will link down below, is a great place for that. But there is a live letter from the producer. which for those of you that don't know, Yoshida, I just forgot his full name. Yoshida, Yoshi P, the producer of the game, the guy that was brought in while Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 was failing. He has been doing roughly a monthly letter that he and one of, and I'm not even remembering his name, but that he live streams, and it usually takes a bit for an official English translation to come out, but usually there are people doing, I mean, I know that the Square Enix English Twitter typically is posting answers to the questions that are asked and important details, but that is on August 8th, so the end of this week. It is expected that Phase 4 will kick off that weekend, the 9th, and run for a week, have a couple days downtime, then early access will hit, and that will be, it's nothing official, but it's been pretty solidly confirmed that there will be a 5 or 7 day early access. So that we expect to start around the 20th, and then the game launches on the 27th. So, yeah, I'm getting pretty excited about this. I loved this game during the betas. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I never got the chance to play 14 1.0 due to either being unemployed or working way too much. But I've also mentioned in other videos I have pre-purchased Saints Row 4, so that releases on the 20th, so we'll be putting a couple videos of that up. But yeah, that's the benchmarks running to a close here now. So if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask. If you have any game suggestions, throw them down in the comments below. I try to respond to most comments. Yeah, that score was about 600 points lower than my average. But yeah, if you have anything for me, as I said, I'm kind of taking a break from Serving Justice right now, just until my work schedule slows down a bit, and I can get all the subscriber battle videos posted. But those will be coming back. Again, I'm hoping to do those on a weekly or a bi-weekly schedule. It's going to depend on how much time I end up putting into this game. As you can see, my desktop is Final Fantasy XIV themed right now. You can also see, looking at my desktop, I have a number of games up here at the top. Guild Wars 2, Terra, MechWarrior Online, DC Universe Online, Rift, Defiance, Diablo 3, Cube World, and those aren't anything, that isn't the complete list of games that I have. So if there's anything that you would like to see some gameplay footage of, if you'd like to hear my opinions on, just let me know. But in the meantime, my name is Jonathan Cook. This is JC Let's Play. I really appreciate you guys, watching the channel and giving me your support. But in the meantime, I hope you guys, take care and peace out.